There are an abundance of iconic rivalries out there. Batman and the Joker, Star Trek fans and Star Wars fans, people who put broccoli on their pizza and people who still have their sanity. But my personal favorite rivalry, Alastor and Vox. Both are my two favorite characters in Hazbin Hotel, but what really makes Vox shine for me is his pure, unfiltered hatred for Alastor. Most rivalries are built around a hero and a villain, but this one is different. This is a rivalry between two villainous characters, both egomaniacs, both terrifying in their own way, and neither is willing to back down. So today, I want to break down the feud between two of my favorite characters, and because I thought this was a decent idea for a first video. Let's get into it. But before that, spoiler warning for Hazbin Hotel. Now, we have no idea how Vox and Alastor met, so here's what I like to believe. I imagine when Vox initially showed up in Hell, he wasn't taken seriously. He was weak, overlooked, and largely ignored, written off as just another nobody trying and failing to climb the social ladder. Nobody paid him any real attention, except for one person, Alastor. Alastor, ever the observer, found Vox's ambition amusing. Watching Vox struggle his way toward power was entertaining. But more than that, Alastor noticed something no one else did: potential. So instead of mocking Vox outright, Alastor offered him advice, not direct help, not protection, just subtle encouragement and carefully chosen words. And Vox listened because Alastor was the first person in Hell who seemed genuinely interested in him. When Vox started applying Alastor's advice, things changed. He gained influence, followers, and most importantly, confidence. Over the next few years, Vox continued to rise and his connection to Alastor deepened alongside it. I don't think Alastor ever helped Vox openly, but I like to imagine him lingering on the sidelines, occasionally nudging Vox in the right direction with a few remarks. From Vox's perspective, Alastor had practically saved him from a life of irrelevance, so it makes sense that Vox would eventually develop feelings for him. He found Alastor inspiring. That day at the bar, I don't think Vox was just talking business. I think he was hinting that he wanted their relationship to become something more. But Alastor laughed in Vox's face and called him pathetic for needing Alastor. A lot of people call Alastor a hypocrite for this, which he is, but personally, I like to think there's more going on beneath the surface. I think Alastor's criticism wasn't only about Vox's dependence on others. It was also the part of Alastor he can't stand, a weakness he hides from everyone, that being the fact that he sold his soul to Rosie for power. And let's be honest, Alastor's not someone capable of healthy relationships. His closest bond is with the person who literally owns his soul. Vulnerability, reliance, emotional connection, these are all things he responds to with mockery. But back to Vox, he snaps. The one person he admired, trusted, and opened up to had humiliated him. According to Alastor, Vox threw a tantrum not long after, where Alastor put Vox in his place. I like to imagine that this is when Vox got his bent antenna. Despite this, Vox still managed to rise. He eventually joined forces with Velvet and Valentino, forming the V's. After Alastor disappears, Vox flourishes until the moment Vox realizes that Alastor has returned, he completely loses it. He immediately goes on the offense despite just lecturing Valentino about not doing the exact same thing with Angel in the hotel. Hypocrisy, thy name is Vox. We're then blessed by my favorite song in the entire show, Stayed Gone. Am I biased because it's sung by my two favorite characters? Absolutely. And I won't apologize for it. Anyways, one of the things that makes this song so spectacular to me is how different Alastor and Vox's insults are. Vox sticks to surface level jabs, calling Alastor old, outdated, and irrelevant. Alastor, on the other hand, targets Vox's deepest insecurities, his reliance on the other V's, and the real reason Vox hates him in the first place, because Alastor rejected him. Now, as far as season 1 goes, that's pretty much it for their dynamic. Oh wait, I nearly forgot to mention that scene where Vox gets off at watching Alastor nearly get killed by Adam which was the moment I truly realized just how unhinged Vox is. Anyways, season 2 somehow makes their relationship even better. Quick recap. Vox wishes to conquer heaven and become a god despite being the equivalent of a gang leader in hell while spreading false propaganda about the hotel. In other news, Alastor secretly plots to break free from Rosie. After the V's clash with Alastor and his minions, Alastor proposes a deal to Vox. He'll become Vox's prisoner and publicly participate in Vox's propaganda parade as long as Vox doesn't land his hands on Charlie. And Vox falls for it instantly, no questions asked. With any other character, I call this bad writing, but with Vox, it makes perfect sense. This man is so egotistical and so obsessed with defeating Alastor that the idea of him finally winning blinds him completely. I mean, just look at the way he celebrates after defeating Alastor. This man is a complete buffoon. What follows are some of my favorite moments in their entire relationship. On camera, Alastor plays the role of the obedient prisoner. Off camera, he quietly tears Vox apart, mocking him for depending on Valentino and Velvet. Slowly but surely, Vox starts pushing them away, desperate to prove Alastor wrong. Because Vox doesn't just want to beat Alastor. Oh no. He wants Alastor to acknowledge that Vox is superior. Vox becomes increasingly unstable, obsessive, and desperate to prove that he truly is the strongest sinner in hell. And Alastor's comments, as petty as they are painfully true. My two personal favorites are "You still need me like you did before," and "You're broken from the start, no victory will ever be enough." Eventually, Alastor points out that every bit of Vox's recent success came from relying on others, and that even now, Vox couldn't make Charlie admit defeat. Vox, being Vox, tries to prove Alastor wrong once again. During Vox's massive party before the attack on Heaven, Alastor uses the favor he earned back in Season 1 to force Charlie to declare Vox the strongest sinner in hell. Which, can I just say, this just shows how pathetic Vox is. Vox's greatest achievement is something his enemy had to accomplish for him. Also, Charlie saying this somehow breaks Rosie's hold over Alastor. And then Vox immediately ruins everything by touching Charlie, officially breaking his own deal. The moment before it's happened, my only thought was, there is no way he is that stupid. And then he immediately proved that he was. All because he loves touching people inappropriately. And Alastor freed himself because of
fucking wordplay? You tricked me with a fucking technicality? Seriously?
It's clearly worked. It's your fault for falling into an obvious trap. With that, the stage is set for their final showdown. Let's get into it. Vox and Alastor finally clash in the battle that the show has been building towards since Vox's very first appearance. At first, Alastor clearly has the upper hand until Vox escalates the fight by summoning his pet shark. When that still isn't enough, Vox takes it even further by wielding the might of Lilith in a desperate attempt to kill Alastor. In the process, he obliterates countless innocent sinners. By this point, our dear, pathetic Vox has nothing left to gain. His ambition, his image, even his survival no longer matter to him. He's so completely consumed by his hatred that he's willing to die if it means finally wiping that smile off Alastor's face. But Vox's past actions catch up with him. Valentino and Velvet step in to stop Vox. And you know you have gone completely off the rails when Valentino starts looking like the lesser evil. Valentino tears Vox's head off, the might of Lilith is neutralized, and Vox is left discarded, headless, powerless, and forgotten, while Alastor walks away free, already plotting his next move. It's a perfect conclusion to their rivalry, at least for now. Alastor leaves with everything he wanted, his freedom, his control, and the satisfaction of victory. Vox, meanwhile, suffers a fate far worse than death for a narcissist. Irrelevance, ignored, silenced, forgotten. Vox was doomed from the very beginning. No matter what he would have done, he was always going to lose to Alastor. Even when they were human, the difference between them was so obvious. Alastor became a successful radio host through patience, discipline, and careful planning. and then became a serial killer. Vox, on the other hand, murdered his way into becoming a television star and cult leader. This difference alone tells you everything you need to know. Alastor's rise was calculated and sustainable. Vox was reckless, impulsive, and guaranteed to collapse. If a TV hadn't fallen on Vox's head, the police would have surely figured out that he killed all those TV stars. His plan was never built to last. Alastor, by contrast, prepared for the afterlife itself. He made a deal with Rosie, something he clearly despises, but when it serves his goals, Alastor is willing to swallow his pride. We see that same trait later when he willingly allows himself to become Vox's prisoner. Vox has never understood that. He has never put his ego aside when it mattered. His entire existence is fueled by his god complex. Every decision he makes is about validation, dominance, and being seen as the strongest, no matter how reckless it is. Even the way they use their respective media reflects this difference. Alastor uses radio to announce his power. He broadcasts confidence, control, and inevitability. He doesn't need approval. Vox uses television to chase after power. He craves relevance, praise, and affirmation. His screens exist to convince others that he matters. Vox needs to be acknowledged. Alastor simply does what he wants. When you look at it this way, the outcome was never in doubt. Vox was always going to lose. I also just remembered that Vox's suit looks very similar to Alastor's suit, which is an excellent way of showing how unoriginal Vox is. What makes this rivalry so compelling to me is the balance between similarity and contrast of Alastor and Vox. I've spent a lot of time talking about the differences between Alastor and Vox, but at their core, both characters are deeply insecure. The difference is that one masks it with control and patience, and the other is Vox. Anyways, that's my retrospective. For my next video, I'm planning to take a look at a Batman movie directed by the Halloween guy. So if that sounds like your thing, you won't want to miss it. And remember, dear viewers, stay tuned.